expect Leo Chanel back at practice and ready to play this weekend? I know you talked about Mike Meskin filling in well for him, but I'm sure there's some things Leo can do that other guys can't. What do you hope you can get back from Leo this week?
Obviously, number one with Leo, the physicality he can play with. I mean, he's kind of freaky athletically. We know that. He's an imposing guy playing that position. Find ways to get him downhill and go wreck a game for an offense. And excited to have him back. You know, we was able to practice a little bit last week, so excited for him to get back in the mix, and just going to have to help control those emotions because, you know, he's got a little pent-up emotion from missing those first couple games.
Jim, what, if anything, is different about what Jack Cohn's doing with Notre Dame through 3 games compared to when he was here? And also, what do you expect from him, knowing what you've known about him for so long?
Yeah, I think you see a lot of similar things. You know, from a concept standpoint, the throws they're asking him to make, he's always played with a lot of confidence to me. And seeing him get through progressions and be aggressive, you know, throwing the ball down the field, he's done a great job in that offense up to this point. And you know, the thing that I always respected about Jack, had a good relationship. We talked a lot. You know, he was a guy who could see it on tape. He was a guy who could talk it and then apply it on the field. And that's what I see. So excited for him. He's just got to have one bad game this year. Outside of that, I wish him all the best.
Go. Jim, when you look at your defense, it's been really good at defending the pass over the middle, which is what a lot of teams with the RPO and other things are relying on in recent years. What do you think you guys do that really shuts down that area of the field?
It's obviously a huge emphasis in our defense, in our scheme. Teams do a really good job of creating space in the middle of the field, and we try to do our best to limit that and not let them clear you out, right, with running backs or people to the flat, stuff like that. So in everything we do, you're trying to find ways to kind of condense that part of the field, you know, cloudy the vision up a little bit for the quarterback. And you know, a lot of that in my mind is being aggressive, right, and playing on your terms and your speed, right, making a team speed up sometimes. They can't get all the way through some of those progressions that take a little bit more time to develop.
Steve, just in general, how do you feel about the way the defense has performed these first couple games, and where do you think y'all can get better?
Proud of the guys. You know, they've played extremely hard. Done a good job limiting points. You know, playing really well on third down, but that's starting on first and second down, right? Being very disruptive up front. D-line, linebackers really making some plays, getting some TFLs, getting guys behind the sticks. The thing that you're always just stressed, because it's a weekly thing, is turnovers, right? Finding ways in big moments to create turnovers, right? Whether it's third down or red zone, doesn't really matter, right? You know you're going to get in big moments of the game, and that's the difference. You know, take a look at Penn State and ours. We both played dominant on defense. They created a couple turnovers, and we weren't able to. So that's the emphasis, and they don't carry over from week to week. So every single week you got to go out there and find ways to take the ball away from the opponent. And the bigger the moment, the better it is to get those turnovers.
Jason, following up on that question, your front seven so far, it seems, has played fairly well. Was there something schematically that you thought you could do differently with the group this year? Or is there anything in particular you can put your finger on that you think has been more effective this year?
I think the biggest emphasis we had with that grouping was a little bit more attacking mentality. Tried to clean up some of the technique and things on our movements, and seeing big improvement in production. Right, you're seeing those guys not only be disruptive but make tackles for loss and get sacks and really put pressure on the quarterback consistently the first couple weeks, and that was something going back to last year that we just felt like we still had a lot of room for growth, and guys bought into it, and I like the way they're playing right now, playing physical, eliminating the run game in a lot of ways, and forcing teams to be more one-dimensional. And like I said, just trying to have a little bit more of an aggressive mindset. And our linebackers are really good. You know, we don't need to take up blocks, right? We can be disruptive. They'll make their own plays and things like that. So, like I said, it's so far so good. This season, we got another big test coming up.
Jim, do you see any similarities between Notre Dame and Penn State in this regard offensively? Their willingness and ability to test teams vertically with multiple throws?
Yeah, they are similar in that way. They're going to throw the ball vertically down the field, and they've been a big play offense, right? That's kind of swung momentum in their last couple of games in a big way. You look at what they did versus Toledo, you look at what they did versus Purdue, sorry. A number of plays, there was 4 or 5 kind of big chunk plays that really swung that one. Purdue played them pretty well on defense, eliminating the run game in a lot of ways, and all of a sudden they hit a big one for a touchdown and kind of changed the momentum and kind of just made them comfortable. They didn't have to panic, they didn't have to press. But yeah, it's easy to see on tape. They're going to give their playmakers opportunities down the field. They're going to put some 50-50 balls up there and just see who can make a play. So DBs understand that. We have to get in position to go attack the football because they're going to go up, they're going to be physical, they're going to use their hands, and we got to go up there and finish those plays.
Cool. Jim, what kind of challenges a tight end like Michael Mayer present to the defense, especially with them out there splitting them out, kind of put them in different situations?
Yeah, they do a great job of creating matchups. They move him all over the place. They try to get him free access off the ball because he's a guy that, when he starts to build up space or build up speed, and he can create some separation, and obviously very physical at the point of attack and the top of his routes and things like that. So they do a great job. You have to identify him. They're going to move him. Like I said, they're going to put him in some positions that you don't traditionally see some of these tight ends, and big emphasis to get him targets, right, and get him off the ball. Love the way he plays when he has the ball in his hands. He's physical. He's trying to, yards after catch is a huge part of his game. So we got to be smart. We have to create matchups that we like on him as well, and we have to identify him when he's moving kind of in some of those underneath zones, because that's where he's really done a great job of kind of catch and run situations.
Jim, another explosive player too, Kyron Williams, just talking about both ends, not only in the rushing attack but also in the passing game, averaging just over 100 yards total. How are you making sure that the defense contains him both in the backfield and the passing game?
Yeah, another guy that they make you find him, right? They're going to move him, they're going to get him out of the backfield. Just as dynamic in the pass game as he is in the run game. They do a great job with both of their running backs, really, of creating touches and getting them on the edge of the defense, whether it's a run scheme or pass scheme. So last week he was a difference maker, right? He had the run to kind of close it off as far as that long touchdown. He has the first touchdown in the pass game. So really impressed with the way he plays. Willing blocker, right? They'll put him into pass protection situations, and he throws it in there and does a great job for him. So truly is a complete back. Makes you put him on the ground every play. He's not falling down on contact. He's a guy that's running through tackles, and just respect the way that he plays. And obviously he's been a big time player for them for the last couple of years.
Jim, you faced 2 quarterback systems before. What do you anticipate will be the challenge with Buckner in there, and how do you prepare for Jack and Buckner as well?
Yeah, we've done it before. Obviously they're both extremely talented. It's not a situation where there's a guy struggling and they have to kind of go back and forth. They truly have guys who present different types of issues for your defense. So it just makes you be smart. You got to identify that, kind of understand what they like to go to with each quarterback in the game. Buckner, he's a talented guy, and you look, when he's been in the game, they've created a lot of energy, and they've had a lot of big plays. So you definitely have to have a good plan and understand he changes the math in the run game. Okay, he does a great job with the ball in his hands. Pass game, they love to get him on the edge, right? Get the ball in his hands with some space and just let him create and make plays. So they do a great job. I think even you look back the last couple of years at their tape, and quarterbacks do a tremendous job of extending plays, right? Both to run and to pass. It's kind of impressive. It's amazing, really, how many third downs and first downs they've created, big plays that they've created just by extending plays, by breaking the pocket, whether they kept the ball and ran or found receivers kind of laid in the down when people had them stopped. So big emphasis this week is how we handle kind of those late late play situations of plastering receivers and just continuing to work to the quarterback and being smart in rush lanes.
Jim, kind of a general question on the sport regarding targeting. Every week we see calls that people line up on one side and say it was or it wasn't. There was one in the Penn State game, I don't know if you saw it, the one I'm referring to, but do you feel the rule is doing what it was intended? And do you think an automatic ejection is too harsh, especially when you as a coach and people know the guy wasn't trying to light somebody up?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for me, I was still playing when this change started to happen, right? It was the end of my career, and having been fined for those bang plays, it's so hard. It's so difficult. I understand the intent of the rule, right? There are certain hits that need to be, if not eliminated from the game, right? Like they need to be punished, but a high majority of targeting penalties to me are not malicious. It's bang plays where guys are getting punished in such a big way for something that's almost impossible to get out of the game, right? And I understand that there is, like, what line, where do you draw the line? I get that, and you're putting it back into the officials' hands a little bit on what the intent of the play is, but I think it should have to be pretty clear in order to get kicked out of the game. I don't make the rule, we just have to live by it, but it's hard to see guys get kicked out of games for really bang situations that you can tell it's not a malicious thing, and in some cases it doesn't even seem like a foul at all, let alone getting kicked out of the game. So it's tough. It's part of what we have to deal with. It definitely adds another element to that whole next man up mentality, because it doesn't even have to be an injury, right? It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just kind of a bang play. Every time you see a bang hit, you look and you wait, and you understand the officials, like, they're taught to throw it, and we're going to look at it anyway, so we'll get it figured out. It's just, to me, I hate watching that as a defensive coach and just a fan of football. Any big play on the defensive side, any big hit, you're just waiting, because it seems to be the trend that it's going to come.
Got time for two more for Coach. I'll move that.
Jim, just talking about how big of a weekend this is for Wisconsin sports, of course, your game, and I'm sure, of course, you guys are focusing on that, but also Ryder Cup's happening this weekend. Brewers are making their playoff run, or getting ready for that, and then also Sunday Night Football for the Packers. How exciting is it to be part of this slate for Wisconsin sports?
Yeah, it's an honor, right, to see the success that's going on in the state right now, just across all these sports, and the excitement. And we know Wisconsin is a huge sports state, and just to see how everyone is kind of just playing off of each other, it seems like, with the Bucks starting it off, and then the Brewers and us, as you mentioned, the Ryder Cup, just a lot of eyes on the state, and I think we've always done a great job of representing what Wisconsin's about and the passion that our fans have. So it's exciting to be a part of it, and obviously it's going to be a lot of fun going down to Soldier Field and playing a team I think a lot of people have been waiting for this game, for a lot of years.
Jim, I know you're not probably watching a ton of Notre Dame defensive tape right now, but Kyle Hamilton, as a former safety, what stands out about him and the way he's playing for the last year plus?
Have definitely studied him. To me, the most impressive thing is just the amount of ways that he makes plays. I have a lot of respect for his game, because it's not like a guy, he's not that one-trick pony where it's like, hey, he does this one thing really well, and they're smart enough to have him do it over. He's making plays all over the field. Run game, pass game, man coverage, zone coverage, blitzing. It's impressive to watch. You forget how big he is, right, when you see how well he moves. So, everything that he's generating as far as buzz around him is earned. It's fun to watch a guy like that play, very instinctual on the back end, which is half of the battle. And it is cool to watch. I hope he doesn't make any plays this week, but high likelihood that he's going to be somewhere around the football.